quite a few years ago as he was launching several crowdfunding campaigns, and he was nice enough at that point to sit down with me, have lunch, and kind of go through what his experience was in crowdfunding and talk through what he's been doing. Since then, he and the company Nomadic have done just a phenomenal job launching amazing products. And as amazing as Brent is, I can give the same praise to Nomadic because I love their products. I think I just use their wallet. I've got my computer in their backpack, and I love their travel bags, just everything. And the interesting thing that Jon has and his partners have been able to do is just really understand their customers and what they want. They do a great job of that. And they've been very successful in crowdfunding their products. And so I asked Jon if he wouldn't mind sharing a little bit of that story and talking about his experience in crowdfunding. Jon, I'm sure I missed some of your background, so feel free to add anything that I missed there, but take it away. And I think you've got a few slides, so you can share your screen, but looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, you nailed it. I don't know that I'll add too much to that. But yeah, my name's Jon, and we've grown Nomadic over the past 6 years. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, super excited to be here. What's my timeline like? I have about 10 minutes. Is that what it is? Or
so typically probably about 10 minutes for your true presentation, and then we do 5 to 10 minutes of kind of Q&A pre-form.
Yeah. No, that's great. So yeah, so I obviously am super grateful to be here today. There's a lot of smart minds, it seems like, in this room. So excited to present. But I think what I'll talk about today is why I use crowdfunding. And I think for people who own product companies, this will be very, very relevant. For those who don't, it might not be as relevant, but hopefully I want to touch on a couple things that we do to build out our campaigns that I think will be valuable no matter what industry you're in. And that's like, validating your product and customer validation, that kind of stuff. So we can touch on some of that stuff towards the end. But basically, here, I guess I'll just share my screen really quick here. Sorry.
Is it not working?
No, it was just asking me to give it permission. So
Oh.
I just needed to give it permission.
All right.
All right. Are you guys seeing that? Okay.
Yep, looks good.
Okay. So is it, let's see, I want to present just real quick. Sorry, this is
bottom right corner, maybe?
Thanks. I'm just trying to move the Zoom thing out of the way that I can see it.
Oh, that's not it.
Yeah, it's not
the little one that looks like a screen. Nope, you're in down at the bottom right.
Uh-huh.
And then
next to the minus sign.
Yeah, next to the minus sign.
Okay, there we go. All right. We there?
You passed the test. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. So why use crowdfunding? We've raised over $13 million through crowdfunding, which, as I look at that number, it's pretty crazy. We've done 10 different campaigns and launched. So that's between Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And so those are the kind of the two main platforms. And so I guess I want to touch on, the three reasons that I think crowdfunding is super valuable. And honestly, when I think about these, I don't know how anyone does business in any other way for product companies, because we've been able to essentially bootstrap the business and take on zero outside funding to grow. And that's allowed us to, over the past 5 years, we built roughly a $20 million brand, and it's been it's been a journey, and it's super fun to be a part of. But I just want to talk about, I guess, the 3 reasons. The number 1 reason would be the fast free funding. I think getting the cash quickly up front and still having the time to be able to go and manufacture something is huge. So for us, we'll launch a campaign, and then within 15 days of that campaign ending, you get the cash up front, and that allows you to wait. Sometimes your customers will wait 4 to 6 months even. And so there's just a ton of value in launching a crowdfunding campaign for that reason alone, is that you don't have to take any debt or any outside money. You get to prove the product and the price. This for me is a really important one, because it allows you to put a product up that you haven't even manufactured yet. And then you're asking your customers, what do you think of this? And for us, a lot of the time, they've given feedback that's been super valuable. For the first travel bag that we launched, everyone said, 99% of the people said, we want waterproof zippers on this bag. And we hadn't even considered that. And we surveyed everyone, and again, 99% of them said yes. So we applied that to the bag, and then we knew moving forward that we now had a product that the customer wanted. And as we sold it on our website afterwards, we knew that that's what the customer wanted. And if we had just gone to manufacturing with that, we would have come out with a bag that just had regular zippers. And I think there's things like that we've learned along the crowdfunding process that have been super valuable. Additionally, price point, you can kind of adjust it as the campaign goes, and you can have different tiers and rewards. So you can get a feel for how much they're willing to spend for your product. The last one would just be creating a community of customers. We now have about 45,000 customers that are on the crowdfunding platforms that are super excited and anxious every time we're about to launch a campaign. They're just waiting. And so when we launch a new campaign, we see hundreds of thousands of dollars come in that first couple hours, because they're so excited about the products that we're launching. And so anyway, creating the community of customers has been super valuable for us. It's allowed, they give us feedback. They feel like they are part of the process because they're helping us design these bags. And anyway, those are probably the top 3 reasons. That's kind of my pitch as to why you should use crowdfunding in your business. And I think even established brands can do this if you're smart about how you do it. It doesn't have to be a new product, a new brand, but it does have to be a new product. So if you're looking at launching a new product into the market, I highly recommend using crowdfunding. And there's some tips and tricks for ways you can do well in your campaign. But anyway, just I guess at this point, I've probably taken 10 minutes. So if there's any discussion points, this would kind of be, I guess, the Q&A, or I'm happy to dive into any of these points if someone's excited about learning about how we do one of these things. So let me know if there's one that you want me to dive into. Otherwise, I'll kind of just start at the top.
Well, John, I had a quick question.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, you may get to this at some point, but when you're dealing with a situation like crowdfunding, you get a lot of input from individuals who are giving you feedback on features they want and changes or modifications they want you to make. But how do you keep from getting too deep in the weeds with the customers? And how do you say, okay, this is the business we're in and this is the business we're not in? So for me, I'm a motorcycle rider. I would say, I love what you guys have. When are you going to make something in the motorcycle luggage industry? Well, maybe that's not the business you're in. So I'm just curious how you go about that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So whenever we have a specific feature that's recommended for the product that we're currently launching, what we'll do is we'll survey everyone who supported the campaign to that point and say, what do you think about this idea? And, we don't do this for every single one. Obviously, there's some where it's I want it to hold my banana. And it's okay, you're probably the only person in the world that wants that. But if it's something that I'm okay, this is actually a valid idea, let's consider this, then we send it out to the backers. And if more than 50% of the people want it, then it's something we actually will go and implement into the product. Because that means that the majority of people in the future will want it as well. Now, if it's something specific like a motorcycle bag, often we'll take that feedback. We get people asking us to make a diaper bag all the time. And it's something that I don't know as of right now that our brand is going in that direction to make diaper bags, but it's something that we'll just say to them, thank you so much for your feedback. We're going to take this into consideration for future product launches. And so we just be as nice as possible. If we feel like it's something that's we're not quite ready to do, or it's not quite in line with our brand, we'll just be upfront and honest with them and just say, thanks for your feedback. We'll consider this as we move forward. But we never like promise that we're going to do those kind of things unless we feel like it's very valid feedback, if that makes sense. I don't know if that answers your question, Brian.
Yeah, it does. It does. Thank you.
Hey, John, I've got a question, and maybe you'll address this with your first bullet point there on timeline, but I'm curious at what point in your development you feel like it's wise to take this to a crowdfunding source.
Yeah, so you're asking about a specific product, like at what point in the product life cycle is it a good time?
Yeah, exactly.
So it has to be before you've sold it into retail or direct to consumer, because Kickstarter likes new and innovative products. So you can't launch a campaign after you've been selling to thousands of people. So it's before that, but it's got to be a point where you have a working prototype that you feel confident photographing, videoing. You don't want to be too soon where you're just showing like 3D models of something, unless it's super complex and it's going to take you hundreds of thousands of dollars to build this thing. Then maybe you need to launch your campaign anyways to get the funding. But if it's something simple like, say, a bag or a wallet, you need to just get a working prototype that you feel comfortable with, and then that's when you would launch that. Just when you have enough, where you can get enough content of it to teach people what it does and what the features are of it. So it doesn't need to be perfect. We've launched campaigns before we even had manufacturers lined up, and we had sewn that wallet. The first product we ever launched, we sewed it in our basement. So that was just like us prototyping it. And so you can go early and just say, this is what it's going to look like, but it will have these improved things about it and different colors or whatever you're going to offer.
Awesome. Thank you.
John, this is Steve Wood. Have you ever run into a problem with Kickstarter approvals? I know I went to them one time with a product that had IP, which we really wanted to keep secret, and they wouldn't launch us unless we revealed our trade secret IP, and we were just bewildered by that. Could you comment on that? Have you run into that experience?
Sure. Yeah, we haven't run into. Only one time have we run into an approval problem, and that was when we didn't show that we didn't show enough behind the design evidence. We didn't show like some of our original drawings or anything to say we actually designed this, rather than just taking a bag out of China and slapping our logo on it. They definitely don't want it to be something like that. So they just wanted proof that we had done our design and everything in-house. And so we've just put some pictures on the page that showed some of the initial drawings and some of the prototyping phase, and that's all they really wanted. So that's the only time we've ever run up against that. As far as IP, I've never heard of this before or seen anywhere where you have to prove that you have IP to something. Because that's interesting. We've launched probably 3 campaigns where we had patent pending, and we never had to show proof of that patent pending. We just launched without any evidence.
Yeah, this product had patents, but it was primarily based on algorithms that supported the post user analysis. And boy, Kickstarter just wasn't going to do anything unless we gave them the algorithm to show that we had it. It was just beyond belief. So we didn't get anywhere with them.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've never run up against that, so I'm not sure how to solve it. But
I guess I'm probably the one and only person that's ever experienced that. So maybe that was too specific to me. I apologize.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
John,
Well,
there's
I was going to say there's a
in the chat.
whole slew of questions here in the chat.
Okay.
So I don't know if you just want to open that up and maybe we can kind of work through them,
Yeah.
or we can just start from the top down.
All right. Should I stop sharing my screen? I think you guys get the topics there. Chat. All right. Let's see. Do you have any Title III equity crowdfunding versus these platforms? Garrett Robertson asked, do I have any Title III equity crowdfunding? I don't have, I'm guessing if you're asking if I have experience in equity crowdfunding, and my answer is no, we've never done that. It's always just been straight capital, you know, basically you give us your cash up front and we deliver a reward later, and that's all you get. You don't get equity. Do I do any Regency qualified crowdfunding, any product development funding, whereas your company cap table isn't affected? Tara asked if we do any, I don't know what Regency qualified crowdfunding is. Like I said, we only do Kickstarter and Indiegogo, so I don't know what those other, I've never used any equity crowdfunding or anything like that.
That's it. Did you do anything equity based?
Yeah.
That's
no,
fine.
we haven't.
Thank you.
Yeah, and as far as like product development, we've always done it in-house, and we started with small products and kind of worked our way up, so the cost wasn't prohibitive for us. Like, we always were able to pay for it with our own capital that we were generating from the business, so we didn't ever have to give up any equity for the whole development side. What kind of gross margins do you get on the crowdfunding versus when you're on your website?
Yeah, and you don't have to reveal anything you don't want to reveal. I was just wondering, kind of, there's a cost associated with putting things on crowdfunding, right? And
yeah.
Compared to then when you move it into your normal web store, is it vastly different, or is it actually pretty close? Or
it's a really good question. So we give up 5% to Kickstarter. You give up 3% for transaction fees, which is basically normal, I guess, no matter where you're selling. And then you give up, I mean, you're giving them a lower price because it's a crowdfunded product.
Right.
So you're giving discounts.
There's like incentives based on, early adopters kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. We launched watches on our website, and we were super excited about these watches. We had developed them for like 6 years or 8 months. They looked really cool. And we launched them on our website, and we sold 20 watches in one day. And for us, compared to how we had done on our crowdfunding campaigns, where we were doing hundreds of thousands of sales in one day, this was a total flop. And so what we learned from that, just one trial and error, was that people actually, the crowdfunding platform, we use Facebook ads to drive traffic to the crowdfunding. And so you're going from one social platform, which is Facebook, to another social platform, which is crowdfunding, because once they hit this platform, they feel like they're supporting an idea. They feel like they're part of a community. And so they're pledging money now to be part of this community. And so it's not as much of like, you hit a website and you're buying a product. You feel like you're just supporting an idea. And so we found our conversion rate to be much, much higher on Kickstarter. And it's one of the reasons we launch our products there, is because we can make the dollar go way further for advertising. And we get, 4 or 5 to 1 returns on our ad spend on Kickstarter. Whereas on our website, we're seeing more like a 3 to 4 to 1 return. And so the dollar goes a little bit further on Kickstarter, because even though the products are priced lower, and you're giving 5% up, we still have better margins on our Kickstarter campaigns.
Right. Overall. Yeah.
Overall. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Like, so just to give you some numbers, the cost of marketing right now on our website, we spend about 20 to 25% to acquire new customers. On Kickstarter, it ends up being 12 to 15%. So that's the difference.
Okay. Yeah, that helps. Thanks.
Okay, let's see. How do you solicit feedback, feature rating within each campaign? So within Kickstarter, they have a platform that has comments and messages. And so there's basically a comments board, so people will shoot their comments on there. And then we just go off of that and say, hey, this guy suggested that we add this clip to this bag. You guys, what do you think of that? And if a lot of people are like, yes, another vote for the clip, then at that point, we send out just a Google survey, and we say hey, everyone, we appreciate you if you fill this out. And, only 10 or 20% of the people will really respond. And those are the people that really care anyway. And so we get that feedback and make the change if it's, if everyone's wanting it. I hope that answered your question. Let's see. Phil asked, do you have any specific simple tips for what makes a good kickoff video?
Whatever you call those videos, like I don't know what you call.
No, yeah, we definitely do. So we kind of have a formula that we've developed for our videos. So it's basically like, start off with in the first 5 seconds, you have to have a hook. You have to have something that's going to grab their attention. And if you go back and watch our videos, it's either me hitting a luggage with a sledgehammer off the roof, or it's us throwing the bags out and making the straps pop in some crazy way. And that's just us, that's us grabbing your attention. And so you're like, whoa, I've never seen a bag do that. And you're just going to watch a little bit longer. And then from there, we sell features. So, you know, it's all about how does this bag solve everyday problems? And we talk through each one of those features very specifically, rather than just assuming the customer is going to figure it out. You know, and rather than just seeing a water bottle come out of the pocket, we say, this is a magnetic water bottle pocket and watch how it closes, you know. And so we're teaching you as we're kind of showing the features, and we found that to be super effective. And then obviously you have to have a super strong call to action at the end. And so that's kind of the formula. You hook them, and then you sell features, and then that solve problems, and then kind of have that call to action. We also throw trust factors in there. So we'll say things like, you know, Nomadic has crowdfunded X number of products, or we've delivered hundreds of thousands of products to everyone overseas. We're always on time. Our customers love our products. Check out what this customer said. Look at this review. So you make them trust you. You kind of sell them the features, and then close them at the end. So it's just a basic sales funnel, but
It's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
okay. Let's see, Shane, from what I understand, crowdfunding isn't an if you build it, they will come type of model. How do you drive traffic? This is absolutely true. So Shane nailed this on the head. A lot of people think, oh, I'll just throw this up there and I'll, you know, raise tens of thousands of dollars. That is 100% false. We drive pretty much all the traffic to our campaigns. So we use Facebook ads as the primary resource of prospecting, and then Google ads is kind of the retargeting side. And so Kickstarter is difficult to work with because they don't allow you to install a Facebook tracking pixel on their website, which makes it super difficult to track who's actually clicking on your ads. But we've worked with other agencies that have developed ways to use redirect links and things like that, where they're able to still capture all of that customer information. So we use Facebook ads as the primary thing. And I would say there's lots of agencies out there that can do a great job of crowdfunding, of helping you kind of promote your product. And it really just comes down to how well your page is set up. You know, there's 3 or 4 agencies that will do well no matter who you are. I don't think that one agency is necessarily better than others. You just got to be open to trying new ones and seeing which one resonates, which customer base of that agency resonates best with your product. And so, yeah, that's kind of how we drive our traffic. So you should plan on, you know, you have your initial blast at the beginning of emails or whatever, but then after that, you should plan on the rest of that being just paid advertising. And like I said, we see anywhere from 10% to 20% cost of marketing. And so you should factor that in as you're considering your numbers. If your product converts really well, you'll be closer to that 10. If your product isn't resonating as well with your customers, it may be closer to that 20. And you just kind of have to gauge the interest there. Okay, let's see, Dan, how far along do you get your MVP, or what product before launching your campaign? So minimum value product, I think we kind of answered that one, but basically you just want to have something that you're proud of, that you can shoot video and photos of, that's not gonna, you know, turn people away, but it's just enough to show them the features. And so that's kind of where we like to get to. And as we've gotten more experience, we get our products a little bit further now. Like, they look pretty professional and dialed at this point, but early on, like I said, our wallet we stitched in the basement. So you can do anything and it can work. Okay, Garrett, what kinds of products have you thought would be good fit for product crowdfunding and then didn't work? Yeah, so we've had some. Our roller luggage was an interesting campaign because although we raised $1.2 million in that campaign, we were expecting to do like a lot more, and we put a lot into that campaign. And so on that one specifically, I think we actually outpriced ourselves. So when it comes to what products you should choose, there's kind of a sweet spot in price point, and I think that lands somewhere between $100 and $250. If you're in that range, Facebook ads work really well. If you start to break that $300 mark, it starts to become cost prohibitive, where people aren't willing to kind of act quickly and buy, and that makes it the buying process a little bit longer. But if you get below that $100 mark, you can't push enough traffic to really make it valuable for you. So there's kind of this sweet spot as far as price point goes. And then as far as the actual products, yeah, you want to make sure that it's something they just can't buy on Amazon. So, you know, if you're selling a phone case and it's just, it's cool, but it's not any different than one I could buy on Amazon. It's like, why would I buy your product on Kickstarter and wait 6 months for something that I can buy right now and still get the value of? So we try to pitch our bags in a way that says, these features are ones you can't find anywhere else. You'll never find another bag that has, you know, a retractable key leash or whatever the gimmick is that we're selling on that bag. And so we try to just add value to the customers in that way. Let's see. Was your offering for the crowdfunders anything more than the product itself? We've never offered anything other than the product. Like, we never offered experiences. We've never offered, you know, things like that. So it's always just been a straight. One time we offered a digital PDF if you pledge for our notebook or our planner, because we thought maybe some people would just want to print it out themselves. So that was the only time we offered something that wasn't a physical product. It was just a digital reward. But yeah, typically you want to give them something tangible that they can get for their pledge. If you're making a movie or something like that, you know, that would be maybe one where you could give them an experience where they could fly out and meet the cast or something along those lines. Let's see. John, when you first launched, how much upfront funds did you raise prior to launch? Did you seed any of the sales prior to launch? So we don't raise before. We just, the campaign is actually the way that we're raising. And so, like, we'll spend the money manufacturing the product. Like, for our first campaign ever was that wallet. We spent like $100 or $200 going to Joann's, buying materials, learning how to sew and simple things like that. And so we didn't really have to raise any funds to do that. For like our luggage, where it was much more expensive to do the tooling on some of that hard polycarbonate material and things like that, we had established the company to a point where we could spend the tens or hundreds of thousands or whatever it cost us to manufacture that product, to get it to where it was. We had that cash to be able to invest in it, so we didn't ever have to raise money outside of that. Let's see. When you first launched, okay, you did that one. What was the ratio of incentive to product value? Steve Wood, could you clarify on that one? What's the question? So what's the ratio of incentive to product value? I'm having a hard time understanding that question.
There we go. Well, typically I've heard that you have to have some ratio. If it's a low cost item, you're just generally buying it for your pledge and you just wait on getting it. But if it's a higher price item, is there any directive on what kind of ratio there should be for a higher priced item? That was really my point.
We don't have a formula. It's kind of like, what we do try to do is we try to bundle and we try to offer add-ons to their rewards so that the average order value goes up, and that obviously helps the conversion more. So like, we just launched a camera bag with a photographer called Peter McKinnon, and when we launched that, we had like 3 or 4 different add-ons, so they could get like a filter case, a battery case, memory card holder, things like that. And by the time they were checking out, they were spending $600, even though the original bag was only $399 or whatever it was. So it just kind of allowed us to upsell and bundle on. And that's what we try to do, is we try to just get the highest average order value that we possibly can. So we don't have some kind of like ratio formula to say, you know, it's super expensive product. So, you know, we try to have 35% margins on every product that we launch at least. Hopefully more, but that's like kind of our bottom line, is if we're not getting at least 35% after cost of marketing, shipping, like landed costs, all that, after you consider all your costs, you need to have something there that is allowing you to make money. So that's kind of where we structure it. But, you know, ideally we try to get that closer to 50%, but it often doesn't line up that way with all the costs that you have. Is that okay? So let's see. What do you think of crowdfunding service providers that help companies launch campaigns? Is it worth it? Ben, yeah, this is worth it. There's some good ones and there's some bad ones. So the ones we've used on past campaigns that we've really loved, Jalop, that's like Jello with a P. They're out of Israel. They do a really good job helping market crowdfunding campaigns. We also use BackerKit. They have a massive list because they help manage the back end of campaigns. So they'll get all the emails of everyone that's ever backed campaigns. And so they're able to direct target those people through Facebook advertising and things like that. So BackerKit also has done a great job for us. Let's see. Where do you find talent to shoot your videos? We have used a number of different modeling agencies recently, but honestly, from the beginning, it was just kind of like friends and family. We started out scrappy, and then we've kind of worked our way up to where now we're using different modeling agencies. I can't remember the name. There's a local one here that we use where we just get the talent from there. And I could find that for you if you're curious, Krista, but I don't have the name of that agency that we use. But yeah, I think it looks like we've gotten through the questions. Is there any other questions that have come up? Yeah.
I have a question for you. So 13 million in crowdfunding campaigns, and where have you gone from there? Like, are you mostly selling on Amazon direct? Are you trying to get in stores? Like, what's your distribution look like since then?
Great question. So a lot of people don't know this because they're only seeing what's on crowdfunding, but we actually do we do more revenue on our website than we do anywhere else. And so, last year, for example, we did almost 18 million in revenue. Of that, like 2.5 million was crowdfunding. And then, probably 10% of that, so roughly 1.8 to 2 million was Amazon. And then we do all the rest. There's a small wholesale. We have some small wholesale accounts and international distributors that accounts for maybe 1 million, but all the rest goes to just direct to consumer through our website. So it's probably like 75, 80% that goes through our website.
And are you surprised that it seems like most of the purchases are on Amazon, right? And our company is the same way. Most of it's on our own website, but are you surprised that you're not getting more to your website, to Amazon, or why are you getting more on Amazon, or is that just your focus, your website?
Yeah, our products are interesting because they have to be, the video is a really crucial part of the experience of learning how our products work. And Amazon has their shopping cart, and it's built out in a way that, that when you're walking through the product, you see the carousel of images and things like that. And it works for people who want free 2-day shipping. And we have it there just to support those people that just are like Amazon gurus, and that's all they do is buy there. But honestly, like, our website educates much better. And so we don't push any traffic to Amazon. We don't spend any money. We've tested out the marketing multiple times there. And other than just like basic retargeting, we don't push ad dollars to Amazon. And so I think it's just it just comes with where we're spending. So, 100% of our spend is to our website. We see about, 80% of our revenues are coming through there. And then the 10% are just people that see our advertising and just go to Amazon to find the product directly. And so I would say it doesn't surprise me that we don't get more sales through Amazon because we're pushing $0 there. So it is what it is. And we just have it because it's a necessary evil. Honestly, it's like, you just can't not be on Amazon. So that's why we do it. We've worked with a number of agencies locally that have, promised us the moon and back as far as the ability to scale Amazon, and no one's really delivered. So if you know the guy, let me know who he is, and I'll happily try him out. But it seems like for us, no one's really cracked that formula for our product specifically. We just, we've seen sales grow as we run lightning deals and things like that on Amazon. But yeah, it's not our bread and butter.
Cool. Any last questions before we get Jon back to the rest of his day here?
Hey, Jon, really cool for sharing. Thank you for, thanks for sharing.
Super cool.
I hope that was valuable. I know a lot of you don't even have product companies. So if you've got a product idea in the back of your mind, maybe this will be useful one day. But yeah, we're we're trying our best to honestly to educate people on these platforms, because a lot of people just are scared of them. They don't know what it takes to launch a campaign, but it's really not, it's not as crazy as you think. And there's a lot of just value waiting there. And so we're actually trying to build out courses where we can teach people how to do this themselves. And so that's in the works too, which I'm really excited about. But hopefully one day we can help others experience the same success we have without having to raise capital outside and give up equity.
Yeah, it's just super cool for you to come on and share what you've learned. That's awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Jon, I know Taylor had to hop off, but it was great to meet you. And if you ever want to come back, we always would love to have you, but appreciate you being here. And everyone go connect with him on LinkedIn. I'm sure he's open to that. And we'll see everyone next week.
Great. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.